Kamala Harris says she's ready to be president. Did Trump really say he'd encourage Russia to attack NATO countries? And is Elon Musk trying to buy Disney? We'll have to change that song to When You Wish Upon a Starlink. That and more on this week's America Uncovered headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. A U.S. Customs and Border Protection dog at Boston Logan Airport uncovered the desiccated remains of 4 monkeys in the luggage of a passenger returning from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And most of the headlines are calling the monkeys mummified, but it's thought the dried monkeys were transported as food. This type of meat from wild animals, called bush meat, is banned in the U.S., which is a bit surprising because as far as jerky goes, monkey jerky seems way healthier than Slim Jims. But there is a good reason it's banned. The local port director for Customs and Border Protection says the potential dangers posed by bringing bushmeat into the United States are real. Bushmeat can carry germs that can cause illness, including the Ebola virus. So, mummified monkeys can cause a plague on anyone who desecrates their remains. Oh, so they're just like regular mummies. Honestly, I'm surprised Mummy Monkey is an exotic meat and not a spooky cereal mascot that hangs out with Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Fruit Brute. Speaking of things young people love, definitely not Joe Biden. Biden's struggling in the polls on topics such as the economy, but his campaign is especially concerned with how he might be losing touch with younger voters. I know, impossible. If anyone has their finger on the pulse of Gen Z America, it's someone who was born less than a year after Pearl Harbor was attacked. Heck, Gen Z is too young to even remember the Pearl Harbor Michael Bay movie. Lucky for them. Young progressives were happy to see Biden enact policies they supported, but many are now saying he's erasing that progress by supporting Israel in their war against Hamas. And others feel betrayed by Biden, who they think isn't keeping his campaign promises on climate change and is protecting fossil fuels. But that's okay because Democrats have Gen Z's favorite star in the world endorsing Biden. No, I'm not talking about Taylor Swift. I'm talking about John Fetterman, who says young voters should support Biden even if they don't like him. Yep, everyone knows Gen Z loves John Fetterman. They have posters of Big Fetty all over their walls. And his fashion sense of Canadian tuxedo, but instead of denim it's sweatwear, is truly iconic. But if Fetterman telling young voters to vote Biden, even if they don't like him, somehow isn't inspiring enough to make young people rush to the polls, the Biden campaign has the next best solution: joining TikTok. Yes, 81-year-old Joe Biden is now on TikTok. In his first post, he answered questions about the Super Bowl.
Game or commercials?
Game.
Game or halftime show?
Game.
Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce?
Mama Kelce. I understand she makes great chocolate chip cookies.
Deviously plotting to rig the season so the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl, or the Chiefs just being a good football team?
You get in trouble if I told you.
Well, I'm sold. Who needs a candidate who keeps their campaign promises when you can have memes that are more overplayed than that distracted boyfriend one? And it certainly isn't concerning at all that the president, okay, let's be real, the president's much younger team that understands social media and is actually running the page, is on an app that's banned on most government-issued devices over security concerns. But hey, it's not like Biden knew about the ban. I mean, it's not like he personally signed the bill that set that ban up. Although to be fair, that bill was part of an over 4,000-page omnibus spending bill in December of 2022. You can't expect Biden to remember something that happened a year ago. Was that an old joke? Of course not. Biden's not old, he's on TikTok. Just like all you fellow kids. And if you need further proof of how young and hip he is, check him out in this clip he posted to his X account, chatting with these black students about basketball after buying them fried chicken.
I'm playing AAU basketball right now.
Are you really? Are you guard?
Yes, sir.
Well, that should be enough to keep disenfranchised black voters from supporting Trump. This not at all pandering, completely organic conversation he posted during Black History Month completely absolves Democrats of giving preferential treatment to illegal immigrants over needy black communities that have been overlooked and taken for granted for decades. Surely they won't drift to Trump anymore. And if it isn't, just remember that Hillary Clinton keeps hot sauce in her purse. That more than makes up for her and Biden supporting the 1994 crime bill that fueled the mass incarceration crisis. Speaking of fans of mass incarceration, if you're worried somehow that Biden is too old to be president still, you can relax. Because Kamala Harris says she's ready to serve as president should the need arise, explaining that everyone who sees what type of job she's doing walks away fully aware of my capacity to lead. Yeah, that's why everyone's so scared. And after the break, RFK Jr.'s Super Bowl ad. Welcome back. American Values 2024 ran a Super Bowl ad for independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It was, let's just say, evocative of his uncle, former President John F. Kennedy.
Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do?
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you.
American Values 2024 is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
You know the presumptive presidential candidates are too old when Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's 70, is considered young enough to do. Do what? Survive until the end of his term? American Values 2024 is a hybrid political action committee, functioning both as a super PAC, capable of raising unlimited funds, and a traditional PAC, capable of giving money directly to candidates. In this case, Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy! Oh no, the commercial jingle's stuck in my head. But some of Kennedy's family did not take kindly to the ad. His cousin tweeted that he was upset by the use of their family's images and lashed out at Kennedy's vaccine stances. Wow, that's almost as original as the RFK Jr. Super Bowl ad. RFK Jr. apologized to his family and said he had no involvement in the ad, as laws keep super PACs from being allowed to directly consult with candidates. So he had no idea they were filming this. Figures. This isn't the first time a shady organization plotted and shot something behind a Kennedy's back. Meanwhile, the DNC has filed an FEC complaint against American Values 2024 over an alleged illegal ballot access scheme. The allegation is that American Values received $15 million in donations from businessman Timothy Mellon, who is also a large donor for Donald Trump. American Values then allegedly spent that money on signature collection firms to gain enough signatures so Kennedy can appear on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia in the 2024 presidential election. The DNC states this is illegal on a technicality due to FEC rules which don't allow super PACs to provide goods or services directly to a campaign. Wow, so the DNC is suggesting this is a Trump donor scheme to help the former president get back into the White House? But a recent poll shows that RFK would pull more votes away from Trump than Biden in a theoretical matchup. So spending money to get him on the ballots is the worst investment a Trump fan ever made. Besides Trump's NFTs, of course. Speaking of Donald Trump, the mainstream media has been aghast all week, saying that Trump said he would let Russia do whatever the hell they want to NATO countries that don't pay their fair share. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg says the comments undermine their security. Even some Republicans have blasted Trump for his comments. And your niece says Trump is a big old meanie head. Or maybe that was Rachel Maddow. Hard to tell these absolutely scathing political commentators apart these days. However, the context that's missing here is that Trump isn't saying this is something he would hypothetically do. He's saying it's something he already did when he was president, and claims it worked.
I came in, I made a speech, and I said, you got to pay up. They asked me that question. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills. And the money came flowing in.
Could he have said this in a better, less incendiary way? Sure, if he was anyone else. Trump can't seem to help but be divisive and incendiary when he speaks. He couldn't even wish his followers on Truth Social a Merry Christmas without saying he hopes his adversaries rot in hell. At this point, I'm not sure if he needs a better PR team or to be visited by 3 ghosts. As usual, Trump isn't really helping himself. If anything, he's helping the racketeering case against him, because this is a total mob boss move. You want protection? You're going to have to pay up. this is a nice country. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. And after the break, the House impeaches Alejandro Mayorkas. Welcome back. In a 214 to 213 vote, the House impeached Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over his role in the southern border crisis. This was House Republicans' second attempt at impeaching Mayorkas, as their previous attempt last week failed. This will now go to the Senate, where Mayorkas will likely be acquitted, since the Senate requires a 2/3 vote to remove him from office. So, why did House Republicans go through all this effort if they had no chance of getting rid of Mayorkas? Why, to send a message, of course, and that message is, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore, before making a mostly symbolic gesture. Then we'll continue to take it, but at least you now know how mad we are. Canada has an assisted death program for the terminally and chronically ill. They plan on extending the program to offer assisted suicide for those suffering solely from mental illness. But they're now postponing that plan, citing a lack of psychiatrists to evaluate mentally ill people who wish to end their lives. I'm assuming many doctors aren't willing to participate. Not even out of a moral obligation to fulfill the Hippocratic Oath, but because they're having too hard of a time telling who's mentally ill and who's just a member of Canadian Parliament. Trying to show support to Ukraine by honoring a literal Nazi isn't exactly the move of a rational, sane group of people. Speaking of deep-seated mental illness, social media. It's best just to stay logged off. Case in point, Gina Carano was fired from the Disney Plus Star Wars show The Mandalorian in 2021 after making controversial tweets about wearing masks during the coronavirus, voter fraud in the 2020 election, and comparing being a Republican today to being a Jew during the Holocaust. Carano is now suing Disney for wrongful termination and discrimination, and the lawsuit is being funded by Elon Musk. Why? Is Musk heavily invested in Cara Dune? You can't just write such an awesome character off the show off screen. I demand a spin-off series at least. This is actually just the first step in a larger fight against Disney for Musk. Musk is offering legal support to anyone who feels they were discriminated against by Disney or any of its subsidiaries. Musk claims an anonymous source sent him a Disney-approved list of inclusion standards, which requires underrepresented groups to be given large, prominent roles in on-screen leadership, production, and development roles. He also added an alleged list of Disney inclusion standard frequently asked questions, such as if people are not being rehired, being fired, or being hired solely for the color of their skin. Disney claims they seek to only hire the right person for the job, yet also want to keep a diverse workplace with emphasis on underrepresented groups. Some speculate Musk's ultimate goal is to buy the company. What? Does that mean all the vehicles in Cars 4 will be electric and the main character will be a Cybertruck? To be fair, there might be something to this story. When asked outright if he could buy Disney to fix it, Musk replied with a thinking about it face emoji. Also, Musk is supporting Nelson Peltz, a billionaire businessman and investor who's feuding with Disney CEO Bob Iger. Peltz wants to get a seat on the Disney board since he has a tremendous amount of shares in the company, and he's involved in a power struggle to try and oust Iger from the company. Of course, Musk isn't a fan of Iger because he doubled down on the wokeification of Disney, and because Disney pulled ads from X over Musk allegedly endorsing anti-Semitic remarks. Disney has been underperforming at the box office lately, with several high-profile flops costing the company $1 billion in 2023. Many blame the DEI push stifling creativity for the lackluster films. Honestly, I don't know why Disney's churning out all these lame story ideas when a power struggle in the House of Mouse would make for the most entertaining TV show of all time. Many suspect and even hope Musk will take over Walt's empire and restore it to its former glory. Creatively, I mean. Not sure how well he'd do making it financially successful since, by one assessment, X has fallen 71% in value since he took it over. But hey, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing if Disney sank and new creatives were given an opportunity to tell original stories outside of a monopolistic corporate structure. Because let's face it, Mickey Mouse has become more dried up and stale than those mummified monkeys. But speaking of Disney and DEI, there's an ongoing attempt to destroy American heroes and culture. A very controversial topic, which is why I'm hiding that conversation in gaming content on my new show, Deep Thoughts While Gaming. This week I'm talking about the new game Kill the Justice League, which is literally about killing American heroes. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And America Uncovered couldn't exist without your support. Click that orange button to support us on Patreon. All it takes is $1 an episode, and you can set a monthly limit. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.